everyone. Welcome to the second mini episode of Drinking with Dana, of our holiday week, our little mini advent calendar of mini episodes. And I keep calling it that even though there's only 4 of them. Becky here wanted to wish everyone happy holidays, or something. I think she just wanted to be held. And now I think she wants to go. So, alright, so, again, just a quick episode tonight, just making one simple thing, and that thing is blue cheese chips. But before we get started, I'm going to wash my hands because I was just holding a cat, and they clean themselves with their own spit, so use soap and everything. I had to pay the cat tax though, so anyway. This is a really simple little snack that you can make for yourself. Only 2 ingredients, potato chips and blue cheese. I first had this dish down in Napa Valley, California, in a town called Rutherford at the Rutherford Grill. Great restaurant. I think it's still there. They have really good ribs, and one of the sides that you can get with it is these blue cheese chips. And for the longest time, my mom and I kind of racked our brains on, what really went into it. I tried all sorts of different things. I made a full-on blue cheese sauce to pour over the top. No, it's just chips with blue cheese crumbled over the top and then put in the oven for a bit. So that's what we're doing tonight. I'm going to make 2 plates worth because Lori wanted some, so that's what I am doing. Well, Lori and I both wanted some, and we're going to take these into our office and play video games and eat snacks. So all I'm doing here, first of all, I'm using Tim's Cascade style potato chips. Kettle chips work best for this. Other brands are available. But the Tim's is a local brand. As far as I can tell, they're pretty darn good. So that's what I'm going to be doing, using. And I just want to basically cover the plate. This is, in a way, it's kind of like the potato chip version of nachos in that you want as close as you can to a single layer while keeping the full plate covered. Because we're going to be putting some cheese over the top of this. And we don't want it to just fall through onto the plate. Actually, that looks good. Put this over the side. Any blue cheese will work. I've got pre-crumbled stuff. Oh, and welcome. Was it the real Bothy? Welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm glad you're with us tonight. And also, hi Ska. Glad to see you also made it. Of course, this is not peeling off, so I'm just going to grab a knife. There. Now it's open. When in doubt, grab it. Wait, no, I shouldn't tell you to grab a knife when you're in doubt. Also, hello, Lori, my beautiful wife, watching from all of about, 15 feet away. So, well, actually she's in her office. It's a little farther than that. Alright, so just using pre-crumbled blue cheese because I felt like being lazy. You can use any blue cheese you want. Some melt better than others, but, just, if you make this a couple times, you'll figure out which is which. Now, this came in bigger chunks than I wanted, so I'm going to break up some of those bigger chunks. It's just us. I'm just using my fingers, and as you saw, I just washed them. Now, the only real trick with these chips is you can't be stingy with the blue cheese. You want to use a fair amount, otherwise it just tastes like chips with the occasional taste of blue cheese on it. It doesn't really taste like a separate thing. So, here we go. And let's see. So, and you may notice that I'm wearing the same dress I was wearing yesterday. There's a reason for that, which is I only have so many festive looking dresses, and I haven't really been buying any more lately, so I'm just going to use this one for all the mini episodes. I'm changing my jewelry though, so you can tell it's a different day. This is not pre-recorded, unless you're watching it on YouTube, in which case it's pre-recorded because that's YouTube. Alright, so that looks pretty good to me. Yeah, I bought the nice pre-crumbled stuff, and it's in such big chunks that I'm having to re-crumble it. But it's still better than having to cut it off the block and all that. So, I think the only thing I've noticed is the parts of the cheese that are pure white, I think, are closer to the rind, and therefore don't melt as well. Also, if the cheese gets a little more oxidized, it's a little older, it may not melt as well because it dries out. I don't know how that affects the, well, that shouldn't affect the drying, but, or the melting, but I don't know. It seems to. That's all I can say. What am I, a scientist? Not anymore. Alright. So, how's everyone doing out there this evening? Things have been pretty rushed over here. I got a lot of stuff done today, but nothing exciting enough to actually tell you about. Just running errands and clipping the cat's claws and things like that. Have to keep their toenails trimmed, otherwise they will carve us up. Not intentionally, they're good cats, but it still happens. Alright, so that looks pretty good here. And one more piece. I'll crumble up over here. Alright, and again, it's kind of like making nachos in that you want to cover the chips as much as possible. Yeah. Lori says the cats have death daggers, or had before we clipped them, and so yes, and that is very true. Good blue cheese. Our cats, fortunately, at least Becky, we had since she was a kitten, and we practiced basically handling her feet, so now she's used to it and just sits on my lap and lets me cut her claws. Lily, on the other hand, is a monster, and she has to be held and restrained. Alright, so I'm just moving these, oh, here, before I do this, that you can sort of see how how covered this is with blue cheese right now. Like I say, don't be stingy, put as much on as you can. The more you put on, the more flavor it'll have. So I'm just putting this on a cookie sheet so that if I spill, it will not spill into the oven. And then just stick it into the oven on the broiler. Normally I'd stick this in on a, well, here, let me move the rack back up to the top. You want the rack up at the top position, as close to the burners as you can get. Now normally I'd put this in a cold oven and it would take about 3 minutes for everything to melt, but I was fixing dinner earlier, so the oven is pretty hot already. So I'm just going to check it in 2 minutes. So that's it. That's all there is to it. You just have this in here, or rather, you have some potato chips. Kettle style is best. Actually, I think kettle style are the ones that work for this. If you try and do something like a Ruffles or any other just kind of plain chip, certainly not Pringles, then it will, I think it might get a little mushy. But the kettle chips have enough structure to them that it'll hold up under some weight, and also the weight of the melty cheese, and it won't absorb too much of the cheese or the grease from it. So yeah, just get some kettle chips and put some blue cheese on them. That's it. That's the whole plan. So when I pull them out of the oven, what I'm going to be looking for is a little bit of a browning on some of the chips. Basically, I want it to be hot enough that the cheese is melty. I don't want the cheese to brown. I want the edges of the chips to get a little more done. And then the chips will be nice and hot, like they just came out of the fryer, and they will have all this great melty flavor on top. Now they will be really hot, so I'm gonna vamp a little bit while I let them cool down enough to eat, so I can tell you how they taste. Um, but really, as you can tell, I'm kind of tap dancing around it because that's all there is to it. It is very simple. Does anyone have any questions about it or anything else? Tomorrow will be a little more interesting. I think. Actually, let me see what we're doing tomorrow. I know Tuesday is gin and tonic. Tomorrow is the caramel apple. Caramel apple cocktail. Oh, it's been 2 minutes. Let me take a look at it. Yeah, no, it was hotter than I thought. So, these are probably a little too done, but not inedible. Sorry about that. Like I say, I know the timing on the from a cold oven, but let me use usually the bottom of the plate should be cool enough to touch, but so as you can see, like I say, the chips got a little browner than anticipated, but the blue cheese melted into them just nicely. So that's kind of what they look like. Because it's a little more done, you'll get ones like, here, let me hold this up, like this, where the blue cheese just completely melted into it and kind of got crispy. Like if you ever made a grilled cheese sandwich and some of the cheese bubbles into the pan and gets all nice and crispy on the edge, that's what the blue cheese did here. So I'm going to set this on the counter. Let's see. Ska said, thank you, making a plate soon. And Lori said, and we got Lily as a 1-year-old. She's still dubious that claw trimming isn't deadly. And yes, as Lori said, this is how you know that I'm actually live, is that I make mistakes like this. So I guess check it about a minute and a half, and start seeing how they look. If you've got a warm oven, from a cold oven, like I say, it usually takes closer to 3 minutes. But just start looking at it. You'll be able to tell when it gets what you think is done. That's when they're ready to eat. Well, ready to take out and then let cool for a minute or so and then eat. So let me get a good one here out of this. I don't know if you can hear that crunch, but the chips are, if anything, crispier than they were when they went in. And you get a lot of that nice blue cheese flavor. It's a very simple snack, but something about it being warm makes it feel like you put more effort into it than you actually did. You know, like you could just pour chips into a bowl and that's one thing. And you get the ones that already have flavor on them and everything. That's something. This feels like you actually made something. It tastes like you actually made something without actually having to do all that much work. So that's pretty much all we've got tonight. That's all there is to it. So, as I say tomorrow, another quick episode. It'll be the caramel apple cocktail this time. Then on Tuesday, it's the gin and tonic, and it's the gin and tonic the way I make them, which is a little different. Wednesday is the big charity stream. Again, this is all the tips and donations we get this week are going to be going to Lyra. I apologize if you're out there. I actually messaged her on Twitter to see how to pronounce her name because I realized I'd only ever seen it in print. But I think it's Lyra LB, who's doing incredible pro bono work down in Atlanta. Pro bono legal work, I should say, down in Atlanta. Anything you can donate, I'll put her link in the chat, and I'll also put it in the description of this video for those on YouTube. If you can donate, that would be great. If you can't, don't worry about it. We completely understand. but I would like to help support her in this holiday season. So I think that's pretty much all I've got tonight. Thank you, all of you, for being in the audience tonight. For our new viewers, thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow night. Bye. Uh, uh, if I can hit the right button. There we go.